Welcome to the Popcorn Wine Down with Tammy and Eddie. Grab your popcorn, get yourself a glass of wine, and come hang out with us as we discuss TV shows, movies, music, and pop culture.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Popcorn Wine Down. Thank you for joining us. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
And this week we will be reviewing Vagabond. But for now, let's get to the wind down. Tammy, did you hear the news about Sean Connery?
Yes. I'm the one who sent you the text message.
You did.
Yes. Because I was just on Facebook, just kind of scanning through, seeing what everybody was posting. And one of my international friends, I have a couple of them, one of my international friends, she posted it with, crying face, tears just just rolling down her face. And I was just like, I got to text Eddie because I know she loves him. And we literally had this discussion about him 2 weeks ago, I think?
Yeah, when we were
mentioning
about
James Bond and everything like that.
So
I definitely heard. My mom's gonna be sad too. I text her and I was just because she loves him as well. She considers him to be the best Bond as well. So
yeah,
just sad news all around.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Sean Connery. He was 90 years old. He was the first and some say the best James Bond. I would happen to be in agreement with that.
I haven't heard anybody disagree with that. Everyone that I talked to says that Sean Connery was the best James Bond, hands down. So there's no argument on that.
Daniel Craig is a close second to me. Not a close second, but he would be second. But it's like Connery and everybody else, and then you could just start a list after Connery. Just okay, it's Connery. Then you start a new list. But so, yeah, and he also won the Oscar for a movie I know you haven't seen. I'm not even going to break my heart anymore, but The Untouchables, 1987 Untouchables, about Elliot Ness's quest to bring down Al Capone. So it was a great movie. I highly recommend you watch it. It's going on my Tammy. I'm going to start a Tammy must-watch list and then just hope and pray that one day you'll surprise me and say, hey, I watched this movie. I hated it, but I watched it.
That is such a Tammy response.
So
good job.
I know you will. No, you and I love you, but yeah. So rest in peace to Sean Connery. And he's my grandpa crush. I'm not really into older men, but I always said he was the grandpa that could get it. I hope that's not too disrespectful, but
even if it is disrespectful, you've already said it and it's already been recorded. So
it's out there.
It's out there.
Yeah. But so rest in peace to Sean Connery, who was 90 years old. And also Whitney Houston is still making history. Two bits of history. I Will Always Love You actually hit 100 million YouTube views, the video this week. So, and that is a classic song.
Yes.
Love it. And Whitney had this way of making songs her own because it took me a long time before I actually realized that was a remake of a Dolly Parton song.
Yeah.
And Dolly is Dolly, but damn it, the original
that's Whitney's song. That's Whitney's song.
Yeah, Whitney took it and made it her own. Because when I hear the Dolly Parton version, I'm like, oh, Dolly, you're great, but no. No, girl. Why are you? My response is, what are you doing to Whitney's song?
Ooh. And then whenever somebody performs the song, they sing it the Whitney version. They never sing the Dolly Parton version. It's always the Whitney Houston version that they're singing.
Yeah. And not only that, but she's also the first female and first Black artist to go triple diamond. And what that means is she has 3 albums that have all gone diamond. And diamond is when your album is 10 times platinum. And her second album, Whitney, which is one of her best, it went triple platinum this week. So it's now diamond status. And that album featured I Want to Dance with Somebody, Where Do Broken Hearts Go? When I used to think I could sing, Whitney would be the one that I would sing, try to sing and butcher. So, but yeah. So congratulations to Whitney Houston. And they're also coming out with an official sanctioned Whitney Houston biopic. Her family and her estate, her mom, they're all involved with that. So
Oh,
stay tuned.
are they gonna do an honest depiction of Whitney?
As I stated, they're coming out with an official Whitney Houston biopic. So her mom, no disrespect, who chose to see her daughter in a specific light. So it will be interesting to see how they cover the Bobby Brown years, and other things. But yeah, so I don't know how honest of a depiction it will be, but we can just say it's the quote unquote official biopic.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I definitely, of course, I'll watch it. The one thing I would say, like, Whitney Houston was always like my go-to. I remember when I was sent to the islands to hang out with my family, and I was bored out of my mind because, I'm an indoor person. I don't do outdoors. And my cousin went and she bought the Whitney Houston DVD of all her music videos. Like her most popular music videos. And I remember, and if I ask her, she'll be like, yes, I remember. Every single day, I would sit there every day in the living room and I would pop in that, the tape. Yes, it was a tape into the VCR. That's how old it is. And I would play it over and over again. Just sit in the living room. They'd be like, hey, you want to go to the store? When this is over, it's almost done. It's almost done. And nobody could talk to me when I was watching the music videos of Whitney Houston. Like, she was just phenomenal. One of the greatest artists of all time. So I'm definitely happy to hear that news that she's still selling it.
Yeah, she will forever be loved and missed. And yeah, I don't think there'll ever be another Whitney. Yeah, there won't. But also, speaking of music, the AMA nominations, American Music Award nominations, came out. Our faves, BTS, were nominated for 2. And they are also rumored to be performing twice. One of the songs we know is going to be Dynamite, and word has it that they might be performing their new song, Life Goes On.
It's been confirmed. It's been confirmed.
It's been confirmed. Okay. So, yeah, we got to stay tuned for the American Music Awards, and they will be airing on November 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Pacific time. I was about to say specific, girl. And The Weeknd and Roddy Ricch were led all nominees. They had 9 each, and Megan Thee Stallion had 5. Go, girl.
She's killing it.
She is killing it. I'm sorry, The Weeknd and Roddy Ricch had 8 nominations each. Megan had 5. So she's savage about it. Are you going to watch the AMAs? Are you going to watch them live? Or are you just going to YouTube the performances?
The real question is, am I just going to text you and tell you to tell me when BTS gets on?
Yeah, that's the real question. So am I going to be responsible for watching them live and texting you to say, hey?
You know you're going to be responsible for watching it live, even if you have it on mute, and just texting me like, yo, BTS about to come on. Because award shows aren't what they used to be. And this was even before Corona happened. Like, I used to be so excited to watch every award. Like, I used to watch the BET Awards, and that used to be at the bottom of my list. Sorry, but it used to be at the bottom of my list. And I used to even watch the BET Awards, the Hip Hop Awards, everything. And then slowly, it's kind of like, it's not what it used to be. So I don't have the excitement, but I do like to see certain performances of certain artists. So, and then I like to read the articles afterwards telling me who won. Like, I'll tell you right now that BTS is going to win the award for favorite social artist.
Definitely, Army's going to see.
Yeah, they've won every single year since they actually put themselves in for it. So they're definitely going to win favorite social artist. And they won last year for favorite duo. So we'll see if they can do 2 years in a row. But yeah, I'm not watching it live. You can just text me.
Yeah, I agree with you about the decline in award shows. I don't know what it is, but they're not, they aren't what they used to be. The only ones that I watch strictly pretty much all the way through would be the Golden Globes and the Oscars. And even the Emmys, I'll watch those just because, that's where I hope to be one day.
I watch the Emmys and the Golden, like the Oscars. the Oscars usually gets me every single year. But when it comes to the Golden Globes, I think I skipped last year. It all depends on the host. So I'm really, really excited because I believe Tina Fey and, oh my God, what's her partner's
Amy
name?
Poehler.
Amy Poehler are coming back next year to host the Golden Globes. I'm really, really excited. So of course I'm gonna watch that because I found them to be the best host that I've seen since I really started to sit down and watch the Golden Globes. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, it's just the concept isn't there.
And I know I may be unpopular for this, but you know who I love? I loved Ricky Gervais, especially
Oh
his
yeah, because
first time hosting.
he don't give no fuck.
He's right up there. You know, if you don't give a fuck, you already make my list because you know that's where I'm at all the time. Like, if I have a fuck to give, someone gave it to me, and I'm trying to give it away.
Yes, but no.
So those are my people.
I love the fact that like he'll go after people for the nonsense that everybody else is like, no, don't say that. You know, let's kind of like let that go. And he'd be like, no, like we're gonna bring this front and center because it's better to face it head on and me to make fun of it and then get blamed for the fact that I'm making fun of your shit rather than you having to deal with the nonsense. Like, and I think that's one thing that he does is he brings attention to it, but then he takes the negative on himself because he's so used to it because of the kind of comedian that he is. So when he makes
that
fun
dry
of certain,
British sense of humor,
so when he makes
like
certain
just
fun, I'm just like he's actually helping y'all out. like he helping y'all get over your shit because he don't care who talk about him. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. But yeah, I'll do that. I'll take one for the team. Teamwork makes the dream work. Because before you, honestly, I would just DVR and then go back and go through the performances and kind of go back and see who won later.
What was it last time? Oh my God, I forgot what award show were we watching, and I was just like, "Are they on yet?" And you were like, "I'm not even watching it," and then you had to like kind of start like focusing on it.
I know I had to turn it on mute, and I was like, okay.
So you could tell me when they were coming on.
So we're taking a turn, you know. When we were coming up with this, we were trying to figure out all the things that fit into pop culture, and it's everything just melts in. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna go to my other favorite love, sports, and future hometown team, Los Angeles Dodgers. Although I am a diehard Yankee fan, but I still like the Dodgers.
Go Yankees.
I can cheer for them. I can cheer for them because they're in different divisions. You know, that's how I justify it.
Mm-hmm.
But when they actually end up playing each other in the World Series, I ride or die with the Yankees. So let me just put that out there. So the Dodgers won the World Series, and it was great. First win in 32 years, I believe.
Yes.
And instead of talking about their win and how iconic it was, and everyone spent the whole next day and couple of days talking about their third baseman, Justin Turner, who, you know, baseball had their own little semi-bubble, especially for the playoffs. And so they were testing players. And I guess his test results came back during a game, and he actually tested positive. So they pulled him in the seventh inning, had him isolated in a doctor's office at the Arlington Stadium. Then when the Dodgers win the game, that fool comes back out, even though he's masked, okay? He comes back out onto the field, starts celebrating with his team, takes the mask off. When they tell him to put the mask on and leave the field, he refuses.
Because he's an asshole.
If I would get sick, if I were a Dodger or anybody on that field and I came down with the Rona, I don't care who I'd been in contact, I'm blaming him and I'm kicking his ass. Like, for real.
Oh, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that because, and then I want to know, like, how did your teammates really respond to that? On the fact of saying that you tested positive, they know you tested positive, and you took it upon yourself to go because you wanted to celebrate, and you couldn't even keep your mask on as you celebrated because you knew you were positive. Like seriously, dude?
Yeah, that's the height of selfishness. It pissed me off on so many levels. Like I said, the conversation should have been about the Dodgers and their historic victory and all of that, instead of talking about this asshole who couldn't even keep his mask on. Like, Yeah, I have words, but I don't think we want to start re-recording this because of the words.
It just it took away from the momentum of the Dodgers winning after 32 years. Even in the middle of the coronavirus, they should get, to be able to fully celebrate and to get the attention that they deserve. And he not only put his teammates in danger and anyone else who was on that field as he was celebrating, but he also took the attention away from the significance of the Dodgers winning.
Of their accomplishment. Yeah. So I like I said, it's the height of selfishness, assholishness, whatever else you want to call it. I just, like I said, if I got sick, I would automatically blame him and I would go and start kicking his ass. Like, so, yeah. And that brings us to, our cat. I just added this section because I figure every week we have casting and production delays and updates. So yeah, we're at that point now. And one thing I'm really excited about is I love Lakeith Stanfield. Do you watch Atlanta?
Nope.
Okay. I love Lakeith Stanfield. He's in Atlanta. And he is
Are
going
you
to
asking that like I
play.
don't know who he is though?
No, I know you do. I was just asking if you watched Atlanta.
Gosh, no.
Okay. You should, but that's okay. I'm gonna add that to the Tammy must watch list. And he's going to play the first black samurai named Yasuki, and it's an anime, and it's going to be on Netflix. And I've been trying to get into anime for a while, and I've had so many people recommend different shows, but they've all been at different points, and I don't like watching stuff from the middle. So I decided that when this show comes out, I am going to watch it from the very beginning. And one thing I was excited about is that apparently Yasuki was a real person. So that makes it even a little bit more interesting to me that, oh, wow, there was a first black samurai. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited. Are you going to watch?
No.
Okay.
I don't
See,
watch cartoons. I don't watch cartoons.
It's anime,
Anime
dude.
is
Anime is
cartoons.
different
It's
from a
cartoons with
cartoon.
a different name. Don't even try. Don't do that. Don't do that. Anime is cartoons by a different name. It's still cartoons.
It's anime. Okay. I'm just gonna and J Lo and Army Hammer, they've been cast in a movie called Shotgun Wedding. And it's about a couple who get cold feet at their wedding, their destination wedding, and then they're taken hostage. Are you gonna watch it? Do you want to watch it?
I do. I do. I like J Lo. J Lo's my girl.
I do too.
Jenny from the block. Jenny from the block.
Jenny from the block. I have mixed feelings about Army Hammer. He's hit or miss with me sometimes. So I'll be interested to see. But she's producing as well. So I'm all about that. So yeah, I added it to my list. And finally, Richard Pryor biopic. Yes, is a go. Kenya Barris from Blackish, creator of Blackish, is writing and producing and directing. No word on who's going to star yet, but I'm excited about this. Are you? Are you? Are you? Are you? Are you? Are you?
I am not a Richard Pryor fan.
That was my heartbreaking.
I never, yeah, he never appealed to me. But he was in that movie Toy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that was cute. I like that one.
I'm surprised you've seen it because it's so old. But yeah,
It was actually one of my favorite childhood movies. Toy. I watched it all the time with my mom.
With him and Jackie Gleason from The Honeymooners. I love The Honeymooners, the originals in black and white. But so I'm excited about this. Richard Pryor was one of those comedians that I kind of, I had to sneak and watch. Like my mom, he was before my time, but my mom used to have some of his movies and some of his specials on VCR back when the VCR was a thing. And so I would sneak and watch some of them, and then me and my friends we would sneak and watch. And he is as raunchy and as they say, but he was amazing. And he did his own story, JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling, and I remember that movie, and it even showed the part where he blew himself up getting high off of heroin. So yeah, I just hope in this time, in these politically correct times, that it doesn't get watered down, but I don't think it will. His widow's also involved in that, so I'm excited about the Richard Pryor movie. I'm not going to ask if you're going to watch.
I'm gonna watch
it. You know. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And our girl Mindy Kaling, she's going to star in the adaptation of Good in Bed for HBO. She's also producing. She's not going to write, but it still should be good. It's based on a book by Jennifer Weiner, and she'll play a reporter who is a hot mess. But, you know, it's Mindy Kaling, and so I'm excited to see that. And Oscar Isaac is joining the Marvel Universe as Moon Knight. Have you ever heard of Moon Knight?
Of course not.
I hadn't either, but apparently Moon Knight is schizophrenic. And I know that's not the politically correct term, but he has multiple personalities, and he takes on all these aliases, and they don't become aliases. They're actually become real live personalities. And just reading about it, it seemed really interesting, but I'm also excited because Oscar Isaac will be the first major Latinx character or in the Marvel universe. So this is good. And they also plan on weaving him into the MCU 4 and MCU 5 phases. So in some of the movies and things like that. So I believe Moon Knight is going to Disney Plus. So there's a lot going on this week. And finally, Assassin's Creed is getting a TV series to hopefully make up for that horrible movie. Did you ever see the Assassin's Creed movie?
Yes, I did. It's Michael Fassbender. Of course I did.
I know, and I love Michael Fassbender, and that movie was so. It hurts me to say that movie was garbage. And I had high hopes because it was Assassin's Creed, and then you add Michael Fassbender to Assassin's Creed, and you knew it was going to be good, and it was hot garbage. And so hopefully the TV series going to Netflix will redeem that, and we'll get to see our first look at the new Batwoman in the new Batwoman costume on November 17th when it premieres on the CW. So excited about that. And now for this week in the K-pops. We really do need a sound effect or a jingle.
Yes, I agree.
TXT released their new album called The Minisode. Was it Minisode?
Minisode is correct.
Yeah, Minisode. And the title track or the lead off track was a song called Blue Hour, which is a great little bop. I love the song. I love the CD. And Twice also released a new album this week. I'm not a big Twice fan. I haven't really listened to them.
Their only significance is the fact of saying that they came out before GOT7.
And there it is. GOT7. Still no word on GOT7.
Not even a date. Not even a date, JYP.
I have a feeling you're about to join the netizens and start sending strongly worded letters to these production companies.
I need a date. Just give me a date, even if you have to change it later. Can I get a date so I can feel my excitement over knowing that they're coming back at some time this month?
You got a date, TBD.
That's not funny, Eddie.
You either laugh or cry.
Touche.
And I felt like you were going down that Unabomber trail where you were trying to think of ways to blow up JYP.
You sure right. You sure right.
I don't know. I don't have Korean bail money. I barely got American bail money. I can't bail you out of a Korean jail. And also now we're all so excited to get back to the normal world and find ways to adapt to this new, hopefully temporary normal. And Korea held their first offline concert. It was like a drive-in show, and it turned into a shit show. Like the fans were getting out of their cars, they were stomping all over people. It sounded bad.
It started out really, really good. It's a 2-day festival called the Korean Music Drive-In Festival 2020. So the way that they did the offline concert was that they had everybody stay in their cars and you would just enjoy a live performance from a lot of groups, like even like ATs, which I know you don't like them, but they performed.
God, no.
Other groups that I know is like Everglow performed, NCTU, which is one of their subunits of NCT because they got 1,000,001 members.
Oh, Lucas.
Huh?
Is that
I don't think
Lucas?
that's Lucas. I don't think that's Lucas's
Oh.
subunit. Astro, Pentagon. They had some. Yeah, they're not like the big groups, but they're very significant. They're very popular in Korea, so they performed. And when certain people got onto the stage, then all of a sudden, because the fans, they keep saying, was so excited that they were getting out of their cars and they were like literally like skipping over their vehicles to get closer to the stage to get pictures. And that's when it became kind of a shit show compared to what they thought it would be. They had to literally stop the concert in order to tell people to get back into their car before they would start the concert back up. And it just kind of looks bad because now for anyone else who was thinking about having an offline concert, you're going to have to think twice because this is what happens for the fans, right? Because we were talking about at one time BTS, how they were supposed to have half of their concert was going to be offline and the other half was going to be online for their fans. And they had to cancel that because BTS is too huge and they knew that the rules were going to be broken for them. So they just canceled the offline part. But I guess they didn't realize how big the groups were that were there. So yeah. So it
Yeah,
turned
and
into
people are just
it turned into chaos and craziness. And they were called out. Like I will say one thing is that there were people who were there who stayed in their cars and they went crazy on Twitter calling out the fans and everything like that and telling them like y'all need to get this under control. That this is just not good because then what if they cancel the second day? And we'll see because it's supposed to be October 31st, Korea's 14 hours ahead of us. And then also Sunday, November 1st. So we'll see how the concert for tomorrow goes. But for right now, it is what it is.
yeah, that sucks. Also, in kind of sucky news, Stray Kids, they were snubbed at this year's Mama. They weren't even, I can't believe they weren't nominated for at
And they
least
broke
one Mama.
records. Like, they broke records. They're one of the most popular new groups in Korea right now, in K-pop in general, and they weren't nominated. And I know like you're a fan. I don't really, like their music, but at least I can acknowledge the fact that they are way more popular than what Mama gave them credit for, since how they were nominated for nothing.
Yeah, so I love the Stray Kids. Well, and that does it for this week's wind down. Come back and join us after this wine break for Vagabond. Hope you enjoyed your wine break. Welcome back. Let's get into Vagabond, which is a South Korean drama series starring Lee Sung-ji and Susie Bae. Lee Sung-ji plays Chow Del-jang. Yes, I'm totally screwing up the Korean names. Forgive me. I'm sorry. Who's a former stuntman, and after his nephew dies in a mysterious plane crash, he makes it his mission to find out not only what happened, but who was responsible and bring them to justice. And I just want to say thank you, Tammy, for recommending this show.
You're welcome.
And
I'm 2 for 2. I'm 2 for
you
2.
you are 2 for 2. So tell me, what did you think?
Okay, well, I knew I loved it, and like when I first suggested like Itaewon Class, remember like I was telling you how I had 2 other shows that I wanted you to watch, and I was like, nope, she's not gonna enjoy those. So then I suggested Itaewon Class because it was so like drama filled. And then when I was thinking of the second one, I was just like, Vagabond is so good. Like I want to put that on the list. And you were like, okay, we can do it. But I loved it. And we talked about this, but I love the fact that like when the show first starts, the main character, like you thinking like he's a friggin' screw up. And I'm like, what is he gonna do? Like he chasing people down the street. Like, dude, like you're not gonna do anything. And then you realize that, oh shoot, like, no, he got this. Like he about that life. He was a stuntman. But he actually used like all of his skills because he was actually, what was he a black belt in? Is it Taekwondo? Judo. Judo.
Yeah, I want to say it was one of those mixed martial arts. It was some form of Taekwondo, Judo. Yeah.
But yeah, and he kind of uses all of his skills to find out who is responsible for the plane crash that killed his nephew, which I loved, I loved his nephew. He was so adorable.
His nephew was adorable.
And he was so like he was so mean to his uncle, but you knew the whole time he was mean. Like he loved him, like really, really loved him. And he was just like, "What about when you promised that you would be this? And what about what you promised that you'd be, a star in Hollywood for mixed martial arts? And why would you quit your job if you promised me?" And I was just like, "That is so like he was so cute. It was so cute." But yeah, like I love the characters. I even like the villains. Like I thought Edward Park was a great villain. And Jessica Lee, that was a heartless bitch right there.
Yeah. Well, I loved his nephew, and you kind of get what you were saying about how you thought he was going to be a screw up. And that's because for the little bit that we saw his nephew in the first episode, his nephew referred to him as stupid uncle. And you think that's so cruel. But in a way, it was like they had switched roles, and the nephew was the grown up and the responsible one taking care of his uncle instead of the other way around. And, but you see, one of the things I loved is how you see Daljean kind of grow and mature and evolve as a character from what we initially see to the very end, where he's just someone completely different. And I loved all of the characters in here. You're right. Some of my favorite characters were some of the supporting characters. Edward Park was a son of a bitch.
Oh my God, yes, he was. Like who he kind of reminded me of, right? Chairman Jane.
Yeah, but he had the perfect code name, Samuel, which they said meant death, which meant devil, because he was the devil. Mm-hmm. And just the way they played it, like I remember when we were talking about it as I was watching, and you told me I wouldn't figure out the twist. I did figure it out. I kind of suspected him, but every time I would suspect him, I'd be like, no, it can't be. And I think what sealed it for me, where I knew it was him, was when they finally got Kim Woo-gi to court, and the judge still held Dynamic responsible for everything that happened,
Mm-hmm.
And his response to that, I'm like, that's what confirmed to me. Like, I was like, okay, now how deep is he into this? Like I knew he was involved, but and then I think a little bit later, a couple of episodes later, I figured out he was Samuel. But just his response, even for someone who's so nice as he seemed, that wasn't a normal response to you still being on the hook for millions, possibly hundreds of millions of dollars, or billions of won, Korean money for the family, if you really had nothing to do with that,
Well, so like I had to rewatch it because I watched Vagabond in August, right? Because that's when I discovered the show after. Was it after? I think it was after I watched Itaewon Class is when I like sat down and I became obsessed with Vagabond. And I had to rewatch it to kind of remember certain scenes that I just didn't remember. Like I remember the gist of the story, but I had to rewatch some episodes, skip around a little bit just to kind of refresh my mind. And in the first episode, when they're going after Michael, and then his assistant, I forgot what his assistant's name was. Did she even have a name?
Mickey.
Is it Mickey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When Mickey goes and kills Michael, and then she walks to the car, and I was like, I missed this when I was first watching it. And all you see is Edward's hand with the cigar. And once I saw that scene again, I was just like, how did I miss that? Like, it was very, very quick, but I was just like, who else was smoking that cigar? I was like, that was a hint. That was a clue, especially seeing as how it was a woman who killed Michael. And I was just like, I like, it was certain little scenes that once I went back and watched it and I knew who like the evil person was and everything like that, I was just like, ooh, I did miss some significant clues on how evil he was. Now, granted, when he first came down to talk to the bereaved families, and he took his time when he was upstairs just chilling and he was waiting for a certain time before he went down. I guess he wanted them to really feel upset and everything like that before he goes down and plays his whole act. And I found that to be a little suspicious because I was just like, okay, that seems a little bit weird. Like, you really got these people waiting. Like, what are you
Yeah.
planning, you know?
Yeah, like there were times when I suspected him, and then there were times as you know, like I remembered the scene, and I knew a woman killed him. And when Kim Woo-gi was on the boat, when they were on the boat, and he said he knew Jessica, I'm like, oh crap, she was Michael's girlfriend. So is
Okay,
she?
yeah. I definitely got that hint.
And I was like, okay, so now if she was Michael's girlfriend, you know she's connected to Jerome. So is she, so at that point I'm like, okay, is she working behind his back or is he really the one pulling the string? So I was still questioning a little bit. But once the court scene and the verdict came down, I pretty much knew. I'm like, okay. But yeah, he still played that role. And one of the things, like, I love the villains too, like you said. And even though I didn't agree with their motives, I understood their motives. And to me, it was so much better than it just being about pure money. They were still corrupt and they were still,
But there was a purpose to their corruption.
yeah. And some people were just about straight up money. But they stayed true. The villains stayed true to themselves. Even the Secretary Yoon, who had tried to kill himself because he thought it was the thing to do. Even once he recovered, coming from the brink of death, that man didn't have a change of heart. He stayed true to the evil bastard he was. And when he goes and tells Park, oh, it's a pleasure to serve you. And I'm like, damn, dude. Like, most people going through that, they have that come to Jesus moment quite literally and change their life. He's not. He's like, nah, I'm good. I am who I am.
But even then, like, even with those kind of characters, I feel like there was a purpose. Like, even when I watched the scene again of Edward explaining why he was doing what he was doing, and all I kept saying was, dang, that Korean pride is strong. I just kept saying, like, yo, like, y'all got some real Korean pride. Like, so certain decisions that you're making, granted, you're power hungry as well, and you want to fully control the government because you feel your image of what the country should be is better than kind of letting it progress on its own or going into politics yourself and changing it. I still felt like everybody had a purpose. There was a reason why they were doing what they were doing. And it wasn't like, usually when you look at American dramas, it's always money reasons, why people turn so evil. And it's just a different concept to see that it's not necessarily about the money. Yeah, the money was good and they're not going to turn it down if you give it to them. But that wasn't their number one cause for doing what they were doing. It wasn't their number one purpose. And I like that idea of it not always being about money.
Yeah, the only one I don't think was a true believer. I think he was just a dumb ass who was going to
NIS dude.
Yeah, Min Sheikh was his name, I believe, or Min J, the NIS dude.
Min J.
Yeah, he was the only one who to me was just an evil dumb ass who was just going to follow the money, whatever to keep him out of jail, whatever was going to get him paid. That's what he was all about.
I definitely, and he was willing to do what was necessary to save his own skin. Like, yeah. I think like he would be the one character where there was no inkling of him doing it because of the love for country at all. Like, it had nothing to do with love of country. It had all to do with him protecting himself. And he was willing to use whatever, because when he was trying to beg, what was his name? Gang?
Chief Gang, yeah.
Yeah, when he was trying to beg him, be like, just think of my wife and my 3 daughters. They're all in college. Like, help me out. Like, you have to protect me. Who's going to take care of them? And I was like, dude, you're using your family to save your own skin. Like, you don't care about your wife and 3 kids.
No. And the president was an idiot. He kind of reminded me of a slightly smarter version of Trump. And I say that because he wasn't concerned about running the country. He was just concerned about what made him look good and what made him seem like he had power. But he was slightly smarter. He wasn't as I'm not going to say he was as corrupt, but that's just what he was. And so basically, everyone in the government who worked under him got to do what they wanted to do because they knew he was just going to go with what was the good press. And it was kind of like when Daljean talked to him, he was like, you only care about you. You only care about what makes you look good. That's how they knew that they could use you, because they knew what to dangle in front of you, your own ego and your own pride.
Yeah, they knew what his weakness was, and they used it
And
against him.
it was his vanity. So I was just like, okay. But yeah, so the
He did
villains
redeem
were
himself. But I knew it was coming when Daljean like kind of turned him down on the help, and he was just like, "You have my number. Call me when you need me." And then when he was talking to Lily, when Daljean was talking to Lily, and he was just like, "Well, how much would it cost to hire you?" And I was just like, "The president. Go to the president. He got that money. He got that money. Tell him to give you that money." And then he went to the president and got that money. And I was just like, exactly.
But even then the president was like, you're the safe bet because I know you're not gonna die. So it was just like, okay, he still stayed true to who he was too.
Yeah.
He kind of had some moments of reflection, but it was just like, okay, you know.
But they all did though. Like even in the end when Jessica ends up partnering up with Hari. Oh, is it Hari? Hari? I think it's
Go Hari.
Go Hari. So when they partner up, like Jessica stays true to herself, and she says, "Look, I'm gonna turn you into me, because that's the best way for you to get to where you need to get to." And she's just like, "See, now it's an advantage for me being the heartless bitch that I am."
Well, Jessica was and I loved the women. Like, I loved how badass the women were.
Yes,
All
they
of
took
them,
no
except for
shit.
Go Hari. Like, and here's the thing. I kind of was disappointed in Go Hari's character because at first you saw that she was a spy when they had her working in the embassy, and you saw that she was really good at her job. Even though her personal life was a hot mess and she was kind of ditzy, I loved that about her. But once she got back to the NIS, they kind of made it seem like she had no clue, or maybe it's just like the way the men treated her and the way she allowed herself to be treated was like that she was just this dummy, like this low life agent.
But she did it to
And I get,
herself though.
yeah.
She did it to herself when she kissed the dude. I forgot what the dude's name is.
Oh, when she was drunk and kissed him?
Yes, because she did it in front of everybody. And that, I think that's what changed the image that they had of her. Because first she was new at the NIS. She was new at the NIS. They sent her to Morocco, where she was stationed in the Korean embassy. All right. She proved herself there. But then when you come back, ain't nobody forgot the fact that you got drunk and you kissed the dude in front of all your coworkers. So I think that's how they were judging her. Because even when he, the one that she kissed, even when he acted like she was dumb and that she couldn't do her job. And for a minute, she let him talk to her like that and to downplay her skill set. And then finally, like, she called him out on it. And he was just looking at her like, you still got drunk and kissed me without permission. So.
But it was funny because I remember asking you, he did have feelings for her because there were a couple episodes when they were in Morocco together. And that scene where she had cooked dinner for everyone, or she cooked, and they were going back and forth about the eggs.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, "No, I made them for you." And she made 3 eggs because it was the 4 of them.
What did he say? He was allergic to it or something?
Yeah, and his friend was like, you're not allergic. You remember that time we worked out, you ate all those boiled eggs? And he was just like, and then him and John were going back and forth about who was going to give her the egg. And finally, John just chopped up the egg in her rice and was like, here, eat it. And so I think he did have feelings for her.
He found her cute.
And he was,
I think like he found her cute. He did see the cuteness of her, because there were moments that I was watching where he smiled, like she would say certain things, like when she stood up to him and like he was just staring at her, and then after she kind of like went about her business, a smile came on his face, like, oh shoot, okay, I see you. So there were moments where like he recognized that she wasn't a weakling and she wasn't going to just let him walk all over her. And then there were moments where she just didn't want to fight it. Like she's just like, you know, you do you.
Yeah, like she was, and you know, I think he realized when her feelings changed because um he was jealous of her relationship with Daljon, you know, and there were moments where he was jealous of him, and you know, they were having this pissing contest. And so I that was my one thing is I really wish she would have her character would have stood up for herself sooner. I mean, because she was a badass, like when she punched Kim Woo-gi, and you know, she was quite capable at her job. But and I guess the one scene that really made me upset was when they were in the Moroccan embassy after it had blown up. I mean, yeah, in the embassy after it had blown up. And he told her about Vagabond, and he told her to call the chicken place. And she was like, but he goes, yeah, I wish it weren't you either. Like if anybody else but you, but I guess you're the only person I could trust. And I'm like, really, dude? Like,
Goes back to her foolishness getting drunk. He
I
wasn't
you
gonna
know,
outlive that.
I don't even think it was that because when she apologized for it, I just think, you know, I don't know. I don't think it
Well,
was just the foolishness of her getting drunk,
but I
but
think
it,
because it's partly like how I mean, I'm sure it wasn't the full reason, but like thinking about like Korean drama, like in America, we'd be like, okay, it's not that serious, dude. Like, yeah, I was drunk, I kissed you. Okay, let's move on. Okay, check yourself. But like in Korea, they don't forget that stuff. They don't forget that because
yeah.
they don't like forward women. They don't like women that's too forward. So that's her being very, very forward. She got drunk. She was very forward. She revealed her feelings in front of everybody. So everybody knew how she felt about him. And that was embarrassing for him.
I
She
mean, yeah, I
embarrassed the
get the
crap
whole
out of him.
embarrassment thing. I get the whole embarrassment thing, but even after she apologized, you know, because, and I guess, like you say, it's just a culture thing because after we apologize, we're like, dude, get over it. Like, I
Yeah, but
apologize.
there,
I know I made an
that's
ass.
not how it works.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and that was the other thing that I did not like, and I've noticed in Korean dramas is that I really wish they wouldn't have hinted around so much at the romance or the tension between her and Daljon. Like I really wish they would have gotten to the point where they actually admitted their feelings for each other. But I did love the friendship and I did love the way that it progressed because I remember at first how they had each other listed in the phone. Like she had him listed as what I want to say pain in the ass or nobody or something, and he had her listed as unspecial agent or something.
Oh my God. Yes, I
And
remember
then
that.
as they became better friends and got closer, he actually changed her to special agent, and I forgot what she had changed him to. I don't know if they showed us that, but yeah. So it was, you know, I really enjoyed it. I
There are certain things that as I watch more Korean dramas, certain things that I notice. And it annoys me when they do it in like American dramas as well that I'm watching when it's action packed. And the one thing that I hate that they do with the women is they make them wear heels. Why? Why? Why are they wearing heels if they're agents and they're going to be running around? Why are they not wearing flats like the dudes? Like they're special
did she
agents.
have on heels? I thought she had on sensible shoes for most of it.
No, like there was this one scene where she has high heel boots on, and I'm just like, girl, why do you have high heel boots on? And it was little. It's not. It wasn't that tall. It was very short heels. But the fact that they had any type of heels on those boots whatsoever, I was just like, please take those off. Where are you running to in those heels? Where? And but they do it in other dramas as well, where the women have inappropriate shoes when they're supposed to be like agents or work for the government or something like that. And I'm just like, that's just that's I guess that's the feminist in me. It's just it annoys the heck out of me when I see like little things like that because I always notice it. Even if it's like one scene, I'm just like, take the shoes off, take the shoes off. Don't run in the shoes. Don't run in the shoes.
And another thing that I loved about this show is I loved the pacing. It was fast paced, it was action packed, and it got in maybe 4 seasons into one
It
season.
did.
And I know for people hearing that, they're like, what? But
It
it
works.
wasn't like they threw it worked. It's not like they threw in the kitchen sink trying to force all this stuff down your throat. It seemed like every 4 episodes, you were watching a new show, like you got a new season of the show. And I must say that it left me wanting more. I really wanted more Vagabond.
The last episode kind of left it open.
I hated the way it ended, and
Everybody
especially
does.
considering it, yeah, especially considering it is a Korean drama and they're not known for doing more than one season. It's like, why the fuck would you end it like this? So, yeah, that was probably my one setback. My one thing is, you know, I didn't like the way it ended. Yeah, it left me hanging.
It left everybody hanging. That was one thing that everybody was talking about when I was reading the comments and everything, was that there has to be a second season. And it is true, in Korean dramas, they do one season. That's why, they do 16 episodes. Some of the episodes will be an hour and a half, and then they go from there. But yeah, so they're like, please tell me there's gonna be a second season, because how it ended is ridiculous. Okay, but then you have to find time for when the actors can actually do a second season, because Susie Bay has her new show that's out now called Startup on Netflix. And then the guy, who I never ever remember his name, although he's like one of the top Korean actors,
Lee Sung-ji.
Touche. And he also has a show that he's taping. So it's kind of like, when are y'all gonna find the time? Because Susie also has another project after she finishes the Startup. So it'd be like 2022 maybe when we finally get that.
Well, for Netflix, that's right. Look, for Netflix, that's right on par. I'm still waiting for a Wu Assassins yay or nay. Okay, but yeah, two other things before we wrap up. So we said we love the villains, and I don't think we gave two of the best villains their due, and that was Lily. Lily was my girl. I love
Lily. Was not a villain. Lily was a sweetheart. She was an absolute sweetheart. Loved her.
Lily was a sweetheart with a 9 in her pip pocket. Okay,
well, she ain't gonna let nobody walk all over her. Lily was ready to shoot you if she needed to, but she was great.
Yeah, and Lily also made it very clear she was about the money. Her services were for hire, and she was going to the highest bidder. But you did see where she had her moral compass. Like, she had lines she would not cross, and she didn't care. But Jerome, he was an ass. He was a son of a bitch, but he was sexy AF.
First of all, Jerome did his job correctly, and I love that. Like, he was focused. His job was, he was an assassin, he was a mercenary, and that is all you got from him. There's no redemption of Jerome. And I love that. Like, he was about finishing the job that he was hired to do. I was just like, go ahead, Jerome. Like, yeah. But no. So we're not going to talk about my North Korean dude.
Oh my God. Yes, the idiot.
I loved him. Him and Lily were fantastic comedic duo. Like, it was so entertaining to watch him and Lily. And Lily just treated him like shit sometimes, but then it's kind of like he loved it. Like, he really enjoyed it.
And that was one of the things about this show. I guess from my American's mindset, I saw so many different spin-offs and so many different directions. Like, him and Lily could have their own show, and it would be great. You could do a show about the NIS, like Yi and Go Hyrie and all of them, and forming a covert unit in the NIS. You could do one about how Dao Zhang ends up as a merc trying to get back to Edward Park. Just like there's so much spin-off potential from this show. It is crazy.
Don't give American TV any ideas, because you know how we love to remake shit and mess it up.
You could remake this show, but you wouldn't. The vision I have for it would not be messed up. If they
don't
did,
no ideas. You know how America does. We mess up every remake we do.
We don't mess up everyone. I really think in the right hands, though, this could be a great show. Okay, so obviously the only thing left is, yes, season 2, definitely. It does deserve a season 2. It deserves to be wrapped up. Everyone's asking for it. Even the comments I've read have said that there should be a season 2, that they hate the way it ended. everything. Not because it was a bad ending, just because it left us hanging. And you know that Korean dramas are infamous for only being like doing one and done. So I say season 2. What do you say?
I thought we already talked about how season 2 was a yes. Season 2 is
Okay,
definitely a
well,
yes.
okay, thank you. Dang, man. Y'all see how she hurt my heart? She just be stabbing me in the heart.
You be all right.
Okay. Thank you, Lily. Or was that Jessica?
That's Jessica.
You'll be all right. Yeah, because Lily wouldn't have even asked.
She wouldn't know.
She would have wicked me. It would have just been a headshot. Okay, so now, how many popcorns are you giving it? What's the rating?
4.75.
Dang!
So
She didn't even hesitate. Did y'all hear that?
I already thought about this. Like when I was rewatching it today, just rewatching some of the episodes to kind of, refresh my mind. And I automatically was like, how many popcorns am I going to give this? And automatically it was like 4.75. And the only reason why it doesn't get a full 5 is because remember when I told you that I think I skipped the first and second episode, because when I rewatched it today, there was so much stuff that I missed. So I'm just like, I kind of didn't focus on the first and second episode. The third episode is where they caught my attention and they had me all the way up until the 16th. So that takes away the 0.25 on the fact that it took a minute before I fully fell for the show. But I loved it. I love the characters and the action and the drama, as well as making me think who is the evil one, because there were so many potential evils, but who was top dog? Okay, I had to really, really think who was evil enough to actually bring down a plane full of children now. All right, which means you're gonna get everybody. So I loved it. I want a season 2. I hope they do a season 2. It was so good. And I know I've said this before when it was Itaewon Class, if you watch any Korean drama, but if you want to watch any Korean action series, watch Vagabond. It is phenomenal. And the lead character, the lead actor, he's great, because I'm currently watching another show with him that he did in 2017, and just as good. So you are going to fall in love with his character. You're going to fall in love with Susie Bay character, and just the evilness of Edward Park and Jessica Lee, because those some heartless motherfuckers. Okay, but yeah, 4.75 is going to be my popcorn rating for Vagabond. What about you, Eddie?
I agree. I'm going to give it a 4.75 for pretty much all the same
We're on
reasons.
the same page.
Yeah. So the other quarter star that went to my little picky peeves here, but other than that, it was a phenomenal show. So yes, please check out Vagabond and enjoy. And that does it for this week's episode of the Popcorn Wind Down. Join us next week when we will be reviewing Alive. And until then, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Bye.